Hey everyone, welcome to another video, another session with me. So I hope everyone is doing well, and markets are still going down, right? But some stocks are still doing well. I've been telling this in some time that this market is going to be a tough market in order to make money, and this is going to continue for some more time. It's not going to be easy ride, and I think you need to understand that and accept that as soon as possible. Otherwise, you're going to keep switching from one stock to another stock, and you're going to lose money slowly and steadily, and that's the worst way to lose money, and you will not even realize that you're losing money, and that can happen very quick, and if you're not careful. Otherwise, it can happen slowly but steadily. It'll happen. So it's very wise to be with the positions that you have and try to let them go. You will find a couple of them which are doing well. Like for example, Blue Star from our portfolio is doing well, and other stocks are not doing that great. Obviously, Jammu and Kashmir is doing well, but otherwise, most of the stocks are not really moving up. They're neither going down, neither going up, and that's the phase where most of us would have frustration, and we want to move to some other stocks. But then remember, every stock can follow the same pattern. You might see one stock is moving today. The moment you jump into that stock, that stock can start going sideways, and the stock that you exited start moving, right? So that can happen, and that's the reason why people start actually losing money. So you don't want to be doing that. You don't want to be stuck in such kind of scenarios, and you don't want to be undisciplined, because the moment you don't have discipline in trading, you're going to lose money, and that's given, right? You don't have to really question anyone if you're losing money steadily, and if your portfolio is going down and down. The reason is you. It's not the markets. It is you who's not able to control the risk. It is you who's not being disciplined enough. It is you who's jumping from one stock to another stock, looking at Twitter and all that. So remember, in weak markets, every stock will have a couple of days of move, but they're going to stagnate again and again and again. Unless the market is not really strong, markets will not really move very well. Okay, so try to have a portfolio of stock, focus on them, and you should have them and keep them until your stop loss hits. And moment you see some of the stock moving, try to reallocate money, and then you can see some good decent performance, and you can outperform the market. So yeah, that's what I wanted to tell today, because markets have been weak, and it's been pretty weak, in fact, Banknifty especially, and also the index also has been weak. Okay, so let's look at the index, Banknifty and Banknifty, and then we can go into our stocks. Now, if you had followed my newsletter, I did draw this trend line there, and I said that this trend line is something that you have to watch out for, and I think we are heading back to that trend line again, right? So we're kind of coming back. And I also mentioned this in the video the other day, that if we're going to break from this level, then we're going to head lower, right? And that's what is happening. And today we've had a break right in the morning, and then we kind of went sideways throughout the day, while Bank Nifty had a more steeper fall. So you don't want to be really aggressive in intraday as well. In sideways markets is the time when most of the intraday traders also will lose money, because you don't have clean moves. Like these kind of moves are very rare, and that doesn't happen, right? You see it does go up, and then it starts stagnating, and again tries to go up, again it comes down, right? So overall, for me, markets will take some more time before they kind of break out, and I'll be watching this zone there, right? So that's the zone, that's the trend line that I'll be watching, and we are getting quite the contraction is happening in price. The moves are getting smaller. Now you can observe that here. So we had a massive drop from this point to this point, around a 4% drop, and then now this drop is getting smaller. So probably if we drop tomorrow, towards the lowers, we'll be 2.5, then again probably one more up here and one more down move, and then probably we are breaking down or breaking up, right? So that is something that I can't tell you right now, but for now, that level of 70,600 to 700, if we get tomorrow, that's definitely a buy at that point, considering that this trend line is respected. But also every dip there is being bought. So around that zone, if you see, there is demand. So I feel that we are going to consolidate for some more time before we head higher, right? And so that's what I've been telling also. So probably a few more days, sometime next week is when we might break out or break down. Okay, that's my view. Until we don't do that, I think it's safe to not really take multiple bets. try to take one bet tomorrow, probably when it comes to 16,700, take a long position with stop at 7,600, and then if it also goes here and breaks out, then continue to carry on that position. That's one of the ways to do it. Yeah, but let's look at also Bank Nifty. Bank Nifty, I did post a trend line yesterday, but that kind of failed, and we kind of had a breakdown from that line. So that's why I say trend lines are, you should be really careful on what you're looking at. So I kind of drew this yesterday, and I thought we were kind of reversing, but then kind of we had a gap down today morning. So you shouldn't have gone long when we had a gap down this morning, right? So if you see, we had a strong gap down that was right below the trend line. Now, many times trend lines do, when you have major resistances or supports, sometimes gap ups or gap downs is how the market moves, and we had a gap down and we kind of clearly broke down from those levels, right? So, and the selling started right around the support levels, and it just went one way down. So from hindsight, yes, definitely it was easy to trade Bank Nifty, because you just had to sell all the calls there or just buy a put, and you have made decent money today. We didn't make a single lower high lower low, right? So sorry, single high higher low. It was completely forming lower high lower lows, and the trend is still weak in Bank Nifty also. And again, in Bank Nifty, you have a long-term trend line, since that started back in. So if you go to the linear chart, you will observe that very closely. So I'm just going to take this line. Again, this is not a valid trend line for me because we have not had a reversal yet. So tomorrow, if we reverse from that point, right? So I'm just connecting that point there, and I'm looking at that point there. So tomorrow, if we reverse from this point, also note that this is also a previous swing high, right? So tomorrow, if we reverse from here, then that is probably a bottom for Bank Nifty, and Bank Nifty might probably lead the recovery. So we've had a nice previous swing high there. We dropped and we went high. So this is a confluence of trend lines, and we might probably reverse and head tomorrow back again. So what I suggest is at least wait for a reversal on the hourly candle tomorrow, and wait for that high around 38,700 to be taken out. So once 38,700 is taken out, probably then we can say with some certainty that this markets might head higher again. Also, I'd be watching for this trend line. So this trend line is something that I'd be clearly watching, and so again, we might go down sideways tomorrow. Also, after a strong move today, we might go sideways and then probably break out and head higher next week onwards. So yeah, these are the different possibilities that I think, but I still think markets can reverse from this point. As I said, for me, Nifty, the levels that I mentioned on the weekly time frame, or you can also check these levels here. So until the trend line is not taken out, and until we don't go below this zone, right? So until we don't break below that zone, I still see a chance for Nifty to bounce back. We might see some corrections. There's a chance that we might even see a correction to 70,300. But if we break out from here, then that chance is obviously going to be less. So that's the level I'll be watching out for. And also on Bank Nifty, also you can check out the levels and keep a close watch on those levels, and we might see some good moves. Okay, so let's look at our portfolio. So we did sell off RACL gear today because that was the least position that we had. We had around 5% position size, and I've added more of Morripin. Now Morripin, we clearly discussed the level of 52.2 because this price wasn't going anywhere, and it was just going sideways. Right? If you see here, we're just watching a sideways move there, and we had a breakout above 52.2. So that's a short term, obviously a higher high, but ultimately it has to take out 55 levels. Unless 55 levels is not taken out, we can still say that this can head down again. So for me, that's a low risk setup. I've seen good two green candles here, while we had just a sandwich kind of a move. So overall, for me, this is still a very good setup to go long, and I'm expecting a breakout in the coming days. Remember, pharma is also consolidating, and pharma also is at the verge of either a breakdown or it can reverse, right? So pharma also, if you look at that chart which I have here, you see that we've had the trend line there, and we are kind of consolidating, and we are around a major support levels on pharma. That's a weekly support. So for me, pharma, if it breaks down below 13,580, 550 levels, then that's a major breakdown for me on pharma, and pharma can consolidate for probably the next few months before we again head higher. But I don't think that will happen, because that's the all-time highs, and this is just an absorption of those people who are selling, who bought back in 2015 highs. So fingers crossed, but for me, my bias is still bullish on the entire markets, except for stocks which are not doing well. For example, Alauris, which is breaking weekly swing lows, or stocks which are breaking weekly swing lows, definitely we shouldn't be there. But otherwise, the stocks that I'm watching, I'm definitely bullish on them. And as overall the Indian markets also, I'm still bullish. we are seeing a short-term correction, but that might not last long. Okay, otherwise Blue Star is still doing well. Blue Star has been our best performer. So in fact, if you look at Blue Star, we've had a 25%, almost 23% allocation, if I'm not wrong. So yeah, 22% allocation. So we had 19% allocation, and today that's 22%, and that's what is moving our portfolio up, right? So we're up 3,000 on that alone. So net to net, we are still in a profit overall since we took the new positions, and the other positions are kind of not doing well, right? Except JNK, Blue Star, nothing is doing really well. So you can focus on moving and allocating more towards these stocks. You can get it to even around 30%. It doesn't really matter in a weak market like this. There'll be always only a few stocks that are performing. So it's totally fine if you want to pyramid, sell off some, and move on to the other ones. I don't want to do that, but if you want we can also do that. That's not a problem at all. So I don't really track this portfolio very close. Every day evening is when I come and really look at it, or sometimes when I have triggers which are getting triggered, that's when I look at it. Otherwise, I don't really track this much. But if you have any questions, do let me know. So Blue Star is doing really well. It has made a new high, fresh high. And also don't forget, Blue Star is breaking out from a very long-term consolidation. Since 2008, it has been facing resistance around there. That's also an inverted head and shoulder there, and we're breaking out, and this can head much higher, 30-40% highs as well from here. So you can keep the existing position that you want, right, and try to add it, or next consolidation, when it breaks out from a next consolidation, then you can probably add more as well. So I leave it to you how you want to do it, but it's up to you. Okay, again, Moroccan is also looking good. So today's move is really looking good, 3.5% in a weak market. Results were excellent, and also probably didn't move much because of the weak markets, and we might see also a good move here in the coming days. So probably a couple of more days of consolidation before we head higher. Now here, right now, if you see, we have added around, I think it's around 14,000 worth of shares that we have more open. Now what you could also do is add above 53.5 or above 55. You can bring more shares. You can buy more shares. Either you can sell off Jubilant or bigger cotton. You can sell off some shares from here, or sell off half from here and half from here, and you can add more to this one, right? Or you could sell off even Rolex if you want. So whichever you want. So probably I'll be with Jubilant, because that stock is going sideways. Bigger cotton still had a decent move, it's just correcting, but Jubilant is just going sideways, so it might continue sideways for some more time. So from my perspective, you can sell off Jubilant half, probably keep 10k there and remove 7k, and you can deploy in more open if you want to. So if tomorrow, if you cross 55, probably we can do that. We'll take a call tomorrow if the market goes higher. So JNK, again, it's still within that master candle there. 3 days of correction, it's still within that candle. So here, definitely we'll pyramid. Again, JNK Bank, if it crosses levels of 48.3, we can do a pyramiding order there with a stop at 45.5, right? So 48.3, 45.5 is a stop, and we can take again Jubilant Industries money, and we can put it in this stock. Okay, so that's one definitely. So for pyramiding purpose, Moroccan and JNK are 2 candidates. We should be looking for pyramiding. Rolex ring is still having very erratic moves. I don't really like this moves here, which is happening here. It can go sideways also. So also, instead of selling Jubilant, you can also sell Rolex, right? Because Rolex is yet to break the previous highs, whereas Jubilant has already broken the previous highs, and it's heading just consolidating around the all-time highs. So you can also look at Rolex and sell off Rolex instead of Jubilant Industries. That also is one of the possibilities. But tomorrow, when we have a chance, we'll do that. Okay. Bigger cotton is correcting after that move, so I am expecting it to reverse from these levels. Our stop loss is around 2030. So if 2030 hits tomorrow, we'll be out of this, and then we'll add that money to other stocks. Okay, so we'll be taking 1,000 rupees loss, which is around 1% of overall capital. Okay, Jubilant is going sideways, nothing much happening there, so nothing interesting again. Okay, otherwise you can go through all of the stocks. Let me know if you have any questions. We can look at them. But overall, that's been the market state. It's all red everywhere except for a few greens here and there. So focus on the greens, stocks which are in green, and you might probably get some good winners. Also, TBZ has been another stock which was in green today. Results came out. The sales has been really good, but the profit margins have been very low, not really satisfying. I'm not sure how the markets are going to take it tomorrow. Let's look at it tomorrow, and then we can take a call on TBZ as well. Okay, so that's from my side. Let's look at what questions you have. Okay, so starting off with Harish. Harish has a question. Need a view on Methane Alloys and Ion Exchange. We'll be watching tomorrow. Yes, Methane Alloy had results today. And Ion Exchange also, there was some reports. Some people initiated, I think ICICI Securities initiated a coverage. So methanol looks good. The structure is definitely excellent, right? So from a overall structure, this stock has much long way to go. So from an investment perspective, definitely it's a buy and hold. And also, if you look at the recent 4 months, we are just going. I call this sandwich because you don't really see much happening here. The last 4 months, the structure has been same, and we're kind of also contracting. And I think I don't think we'll break out immediately tomorrow, but definitely if we cross the 1200 levels, then we're going to see much higher levels. Okay, but from a long-term perspective, I feel this stock is one of the best stocks to hold on to. We can see much higher targets here, but slowly and steadily, not immediately, but probably in the next 3-4 years, you can see probably levels of even 4,000. That's what has been happening, right? So whenever you see it goes there, consolidates, and then again moves higher. So from an investment stock, if you're holding such stocks which have been in long-term uptrends, continue to hold them and have some stomach to digest those 40-50% drawdowns. You might be holding on to some really good companies, because once you sell it off, then there's no way you're going to get such companies at the same price that you want. So if you're holding this from an investment perspective, definitely continue holding them with a deeper stop loss on the weekly time frame. So in this case, I'd keep a stop. If I'm investing 900 as my stop, I'll continue to hold with 900 as a stop. If it goes below 900, I'll be out and I'll continue to hold. Or if it comes to 900, I'll add more as well, right? So there are two ways. You either sell it off or you add more and you build up your position on that particular stock if you have conviction. But otherwise, there's some contraction that's happening. So I think tomorrow we might test 1200 levels. Or if the results are really that good, it might test 1200 levels and we might head higher. Okay, so that's also another way of looking at it. So 1180 also could be a level that we can watch in the coming days. Okay, so overall structure is excellent, so no problems at all. Next is Ion Exchange. Again, an excellent structure which the stock is carrying, right? So it's been doing a time correction around that trend line, right? So if you see, I have a chart which is drawn. So I'm just trying to get that line there. Yeah, so it is going sideways. It is contracting really tight. So I think a simple rule here, a simple way to buy is keep a buy stop of 2350. If it crosses 2350, which is that day candle, then then it can trigger a buy, and you might not even see that price probably for some time going forward. But it's a nice contraction which is happening. Let me just delete this so that you can see it much better. Right, you can see it's a nice contraction which is happening, and it looks excellent. You might want to add a position here, and every dip there is being bought. So all signs are good. So these two stocks are looking good. Stormcatcher has a question. Can you please explain Elliott wave? I just know very basics of Elliott wave. To be honest, I don't really want to get into that. All I know is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and the pattern that we saw on TATASTEEL. It's simple as that. You can check it yourself. I'm not really an expert. I just started reading, but I didn't really get the time to continue reading. Okay. Ganesh is asking on TCS and Reliance. Yeah, TCS we've looked at this point, right? So with this one, and today we've had a doji. So it looks like TCS is forming a bottom. So definitely you can go long on TCS with a stop around 3380, or if you're conservative, buy about 3550, right? So both ways you can do it, but definitely looks like we've had some buying today, and doji has formed, and IT has been positive today. So overall, it looks good. And see if it performs tomorrow. You can enter that. I think Reliance looks good. Reliance has broken out from a downtrend, and we spoke about a confluence some time back. I know some time back a person called CRD was asking me again and again. So we spoke about the confluence, and we reversed right from the confluence, and we're breaking out. So if you look at the hourly charts, it'll be much clearer. And I feel Nifty would be supported by Reliance. So if you see that zone, we're kind of taking support around that trend line there, right? I was checking the charts today, and it's an excellent, way. It is an excellent time to buy an option or a futures if you want. The stop can be 2540 or 2545. You can go long. You might have a very good, excellent risk reward. Obviously, there's a chance that it might go down as well. So keep a stop at 2545. It looks brilliant for me. The setup looks excellent. You can go ahead and take a bet on Reliance as well. Okay, so downtrend breakout, confluence reversal, all these is what makes me confident on this stock. But if you're looking from a normal cash perspective, also you can keep a stop at 2450 and go long in the stock. You look for some good 6-7% returns, or even previous highs again. Okay. Okay, Vinay is asking views on Vishaka. Vishaka is an downtrend, right? So we had a head and shoulders here breakdown, and it's just going down. So I don't be holding to such stocks. It's not really looking good. It has not begun its uptrend journey. It might consolidate for some more time, right? So that's the kind of formed, got rejected from the all-time highs. It is going down, right? Now, all I'll watch probably for is First is the trend line that it's forming, right? So that's one trend line that I'll be looking at. So it's not even broken this trend line, right? So that's one trend line. The next trend line that I'll be watching is also this one, right? So this is also a major trend line that I'll be looking at. So I think there is a major resistance now here around that zone. So even if it comes up, it will be sold off. It'll take some time before the stock breaks this zone and heads higher. So I might really, if I'm a position trader, I'll be out definitely in the stock. From an investment perspective, definitely hold. But if you're just trading it for positional trading, then definitely there's some weakness. It might take a few weeks before it heads higher again. Okay, that's my take. Hey Sagar, hey Jake, hey Shankar. Adore Fontech disappointed today. Okay, let's look at Adore Fintech. Fontech, right? Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of got rejected from that zone. Let's look at the weekly charts. Okay, so that's the pattern that we were looking at, right? Yes, so definitely that's something that's worrying, but I'll still keep a stop loss, around 58 levels, and I'll still keep holding on to this. I'm not sure if there was a news-based result, news-based event because of which this stock fell 8%, but that seemed like a resistance zone there. It has broken down, it has got rejected very good today, I mean very badly. Stop loss keep 58.5, and let's see if it holds. Otherwise, get out once it crosses 48.5, 58.5. EKC, I think EKC looks good. I was looking at it a few days back, so that trend line obviously has been violated, but that doesn't matter because the swing high, swing low is still fine, right? So we've had a down move, and we are close to the previous swing high. So again, looks decent for me because it's able to cross this zone, and the final level for me is 134. If it's able to cross above 134, you can definitely go in with this with a stop at 108 levels. Okay, PT Engineering. Again, the same thing here. Both are at upper circuits. EKC also is an upper circuit today. So again, it's made a new swing high. So yeah, both look good, Sagar. Again, stop loss, I think for this around 160 levels. Okay, hey Arun, hey Suman. Rajat, it depends, what kind of a breakout you're talking about. Like we saw this in Axis Bank, right? So usually for breakout, if a stock comes down, 7-8%, or if it breaks that low of that candle next day immediately, right? So here, if you see, we've had a breakout there to new highs, but then immediately broke down here, right? So I'd be out at this point, stop loss. So sometimes I'll still give a chance for the stock, because if you see in Gravita, this it's happening every now and then, right? So we break out, we had red candle, but it's still not breaking around the previous swing highs. So it's up to you if you want to exit or not. But I'd still keep a stop loss and hold on to it, because sometimes not all stocks go the way Axis Bank went. Sometimes stock tend to do this pattern because there's too much of selling, too much people stuck at levels of that all-time high. Now, for example, if you see, this has been resistance since 2012. So a lot of people are stuck here since 2012, and they're all taking their money back, right? So they're all coming back to profits after so many years, and that's a lot of selling that's happening, and that's the reason why there is sometimes you have such big candles. But if the company is really good, and if people believe in the story, then I think it can head higher. Okay, so I'll still suggest trailer stop loss, and if it only exits stop loss, only then exit. Don't exit until then. Okay. Yeah. Vinay has another question. View on KPR Mills trying to break channel pattern. Mindtree is trying all-time high. Keep watching. Okay, I'm not sure if you want my views, but yeah. If it's doing that, then good. Good, Jake. Sale. Let's look at Sale and Sona. Again, guys, let's keep it to 2 questions as always. So I don't want to have more than 2 questions, to be honest. We can take them in the next day session. Obviously, stocks are going to stay. So Sale is consolidating around that zone, right? The Sale has a very strong channel resistance there, and that's the reason why it's not really able to cross. And again, it's just a matter of time before we head higher. But remember, this support level has been respected. It has kind of respecting this zone there, right? So until this zone is respected, I think we will head higher again. It is just consolidating because steel has had such a strong run, and steel stocks might continue to consolidate for some more time, right? But this looks like a long correction. It's been correcting since May now. It's a long correction. So if you're holding for investment perspective, definitely keep holding it. And don't exit them. I still see a lot of potential here, but short term definitely it's going to consolidate for some more time. I have no idea when it will go to breakout, but if you break out 145, 146 levels, then definitely it's a new journey. So I definitely be in after 146 levels are crossed, but until then I'd stay away at least. But from investment perspective, definitely keep holding on to it. Okay, Sona, comms. Sona comms is looking good, right? So we've looked at this trend line multiple times. Until this trend line is holding, you can hold it, right? So again, this is the same example that Rajat has. So we've had a breakout, we've had some massive red candles followed by wicks on the top, but again, respected the trend line. So if you kind of exited this day, then you might be completely out, and then you might be, you might not be sure if you want to enter it again. So I don't want that to happen. That's why I kind of trail my stop loss always. Okay. Cool. Morpen has a lower high, lower low pattern, but it's in the channel support, and that's the reason I posted my charts on Twitter. So you might want to check them out. For me, just because low high, low low pattern is there, if it's forming close to a support, then definitely for me it's a buy. But if it's forming a low high, low low after making a new recent high, that's not a good sign for me. If it's close to a support, then definitely that's something that I look at, and also look at the pattern time correction, if it's a time correction or if it's a strong correction that's happening. Okay, Green Lamp Industry. Yeah, it looks excellent. It's in its own world, so definitely looks good. It's broken out from the previous highs. It's heading higher. Nothing to worry, to be honest. You can keep a stop around 1350 and continue to hold it. Okay. Nice, Vinay. I'm really glad that you recovered your profit losses. Pie Industry, yes, definitely looks good. Century Ply also, yeah, both are good. Shankar is asking me on PVR. I think PVR is kind of having a short-term correction. It had a decent move, but it's having a short-term correction after that week, right? So again, here stop loss can be as close as, keep a stop loss around 5090 levels. You can continue to hold. I don't think 5090 will break out, but definitely if you're investing, then you want to hold, with a stop loss around 1350 levels. But if you're a positional trading, then 1590 I'd be out. But if you get an opportunity around levels of 1500, which is around this trend line, then you can add more of it. Okay, so that's my view. Abhilash Gravita looks good. Just continue to hold. There's nothing to check there. Suman, let's check Copran. Yeah, Copran is now making a new swing high, right? So we had a trendline breakdown, right? But we did not really go below a major weekly low. Now that's why I say always look at major weekly swing lows. So I think we are kind of that's probably inverted head and shoulders, but it's not yet come down, right? So you can keep a stop around 190 and continue to hold it, or you can even buy right now. It has broken that swing high and it's forming probably a new trend. That's why I said pharma space does look good, and Copran was one of the strongest stocks in last year. So yeah, if it heads higher, if it breaks out about 250s levels, then you can add more, and definitely right now you can also take a position. Okay, cool. S. Roy, Deep Polymer. Wow, this is a manipulated stock according to me. A stock which goes up like this, maybe there's some news, maybe the company is turning around. I don't know, any idea, but this looks, I don't know where to keep a stop loss, to be honest, but probably can keep a stop loss around 250, which is that low. But this is definitely for me a no. Probably you should be booking your profits every some rise. Don't get stuck, because the same thing can repeat and can come down. We've had so much of examples, so many examples we've had in the past. So Vishal Fabrics was one of them, right? So we had a strong move and then we had lower circuits. Again, we had a strong move, we had a lower circuit. So you don't want to be stuck in such stocks. It's maybe if you're a small cap investor, then definitely you should be able to digest that. Okay, so yeah. Yeah, Vinay, yeah, you're asking a few more questions. I'll suggest you keep it to only two, so that we give others a chance as well. Maybe I'll take up Safari. Okay, and then I'll leave that there. So let's look at Safari. Again, a nice breakout, and it's been in its own world. It's just going higher and higher. So yeah, continue to hold. Probably the stop loss even around 800 stop loss also can be a stop loss. Okay, so yeah, definitely we can have the interactive sessions in the weekends, but for me the the number of people who are joining is really less. We had just 20 people joining this weekend, and sometimes it's kind of disappointing for me, or kind of demotivating for me to just see 20 people there, and to have a session, and it's always the same people who ask the same set of questions, not same questions, but the same people asking questions. I'd also love to have more people. The reason I keep the session still is because of the same set of people who join, who trust in me that I'll have a session, and I also answer the questions to them, and that's why I keep answering each and every question. So if you do want us to have the same sessions every time, every weekend, please do share this video with your friends, and like the video, like the video, share the videos with your friends, with your family, with your colleagues, and try to get more people. I'd be really motivated to have more people, and we can answer more questions as well, and a learning for us as well, right? I'm also learning with you, also learning with me. So it's a two-way communication, and I want that to continue. So yeah, that's something I'll continue to do. We'll have sessions on weekend. So let's look at one question from Vignesh, and then we'll close for today. KPD Tech, it's a very good stock. It did reverse from a trend line. Now this is what I call a perfect trend line reversal, right? So we've had a trend line reversal here, exactly reversed from the trend line. It's in its own journey again. It's going higher while the IT index is consolidating. So definitely looks good. Stop loss is still 300. Still a deep stop loss, so check your stop loss. 25% stop is a little deep for me. I don't at least be comfortable with that. So it's up to you. Otherwise, yeah, I think we're done. I'll see you again over the weekend. So tomorrow is a Friday. So no sessions. We'll have a big session directly on Sunday. I'll let you know the time. It's mostly 4:30. It'll remain the same. And yeah, take care, stay safe, and trade safe. Thank you, and bye-bye.